Well, folks, we have a wonderful poem to discuss today, and the name of the poem is The Sorrow of Women, and it is written by Mamang Dai. As you know, Mamang Dai is one of the finest authors from the entire region, from the Northeast region. She's a poet. She is also a novelist. She is also a folklorist. She is also an ethnographer. She has written novels like Stupid Cupid, Legends of Ransom, The Black Hill, that there is this latest one. And she has also edited books and encouraged young writers from Arunachal as well as other states in the region. And in this particular poem, she is basically trying to situate a woman in a traditional society. So that's basically what she's trying to do here in this poem. Don't consider this poem to be, a very simple poem. Don't take it lightly also. So we will explore more together when we read along. First, let's read the first stanza, then I'll explain to you what she's trying to say. They are talking about hunger. They are saying there is an unquenchable fire burning in our hearts. My love, what shall I do? I'm thinking how I may lose you to war and big issues more important than me. They are talking about hunger. They and hunger. By day, the poet means people, number one. They can also represent men. So men are talking about hunger. What is this hunger? This the target that men set, their dreams, their goals. So she's saying that men generally have this, higher targets, bigger goals, bigger dreams. And when you have bigger targets to achieve, bigger, more prominent dreams, then obviously there would be this unquenchable fire which would burn in your hearts. So men generally have this. This is what she's saying. And suddenly there is this brief pause, and she turns to her lover. She turns to her lover. Let's say her lover is her husband, and she asks very weakly and very meekly, in a very faint tone, what shall I do? Because she's stuck there and she doesn't seem to understand what is her role in the scheme of things. And she has bigger things to worry about. She may not have, this big desires and big appetite for achievements, blah, blah, blah. But issues which concern her are, for her, far bigger than the dreams and the targets that men have. And what are those? She may lose her lover, her husband, to war, and the big issues more important than me. Her husband may go and fight a war. Her husband may leave her for a far bigger issue, which is more important than her. Men have done that before. Men have left their women for war and the other bigger issues. So she's, in a way, just reminding her husband of what men have done in the past. And also, the same history may be repeated in her case also. So that's what worries her the most. Not what people are thinking, not what people are dreaming about. Then she says, life is so hard like this. When she has this, thinking, when her mind is disturbed in this way, life becomes really hard. Nobody knows why. And there is no one to understand, console her, or, ask her, oh, why are you crying? Why you are suffering? Why you are so much in pain? There is no one to console her. There is no one to, understand her suffering, her grief. It is like fire, the suffering that she has, that thought process in which she feels her husband leaving her for war or bigger issues. So that is like fire. It is also like water, rainwater, sand, glass. It is it hurts and it burns her. Sometimes it perpetually disturbs her. At the same time, the thought is also very fragile, like glass. It is also like sand, which is always there, the sense of time. So there is this progression which is happening. There is also this, slow pace of time, which is there in our mind, thinking about the same things again and again and again and again. And this is really affecting her. This is really affecting her mind as well as her heart, because sometimes there is this burning sensation, sometimes that burning sensation goes and she's drains, her heart is drained in rainwaters. Then there is this endless, sand of time spreading right in front of her. Then everything becomes so fragile and she becomes really, really weak. What shall I do, my love, if my reflection disappears? Thinking about all these things, always having that fear of losing someone. This is the worst kind of fear, the fear of losing someone. When you perpetually think about all these things, someday she suspects that she may lose her own reflection, she may lose her own identity. What would happen if she stops seeing herself as a woman? What would be the consequences? At that time, what shall she do? What she's supposed to do, she's asking this question to her man. They are talking about a place where rice flows on the streets, about a place where there is gold in the leaves of trees. They are talking about displacement when the opium poppy was growing, busy in the sun, happy, in a state of believing. Then men are, by day, Siemens people and men. Men are generally talking about, this magical land. There's almost enchanted land where you get streets filled with rice, basically land of plenty, where you would find gold stuck on tree leaves. Then they are also about talking about displacement. They are talking about migration. They're talking about, oh, there's this land where, you get plenty of rice, you get gold stuck on the, leaves. Then we'll go there, we will settle there, we will have wonderful lives, etc., etc., etc. And this talk, which is initiated by men in our society, is almost like, the creation of a dreamland, an enchanted land. And why I'm using the word enchanted is for the fact that she is developing this wonderful imagery of opium poppy growing dizzy in the sun, happy in a state of believing. Wonderful lines. So as if they are intoxicated on their own dreams and the desires. They're just lying there flat, dreaming about this wonderful place, dreaming about this place of abundance, abundance of gold, abundance of opportunities and also abundance of rice. By saying this, the point is telling us that, in the hills, life is really, really difficult. Development is really, really slow in the hills. So people generally, create this alternate world where you get things so easily. So they are talking about scared, about liberty, men and guns, the urgency for survival. But what will they do, not knowing the sorrow of women? So people are generally talking about, escaping from this, uh, reality, the realities of life, the harsh life that they are living, then achieving liberty in a dreamland, in this enchanted land, the land that they have created in their, minds and the heads. They are also talking about, guns, the urgency for survival. By guns, since bringing in the issue of, survival, inter-community, intra-community, states, different ethnicities, things which happen in the Northeast. I'm not going to go into detail. So basically, she is talking about survival of the fittest. In order to survive, you have to have guns. Because this place, this region has, in a way, turned into a jungle Raj. There is no sense of the law of the land. Laws have been distorted. Laws have been disrespected. Those who are powerful will survive. And that's what she means by the urgency of survival. We all need to survive. And how do you survive? And the dichotomy that she is presenting here is liberty, man, and guns. And men generally talk about liberty. Men generally go and fight. Men generally, drum up these big issues, and they call it urgency for survival. But but even if they have big dreams, even if they are talking about survival, even if they say that, oh, we have to have strength, my community should be stronger than his community, blah blah blah, they are not considering what a woman feels and thinks. That's why he says the last two lines, but what will they do, not knowing the sorrow of women? How we feel as a woman. I mean, as women, how I feel as a woman, how I'm suffering, disregarding my opinion, not knowing what I wish to say, not understanding the worth of my tears, how men are planning to achieve the things, the targets, the goals that they set. So Mamang Dai is saying that men must understand women because they constitute half of the population. Without understanding the dreams and the desires of women, they may not achieve great things in life. So the worth of women, or the place of women in society, is what Mamang Dai is trying to project and trying to instill in your minds through this poem. That's it for today. Some other day, we shall discuss the strange affairs of Provin S. Nangom, written by, of course, Provin S. Nangom. Till then, bye.